Okay.
Got it. All right. Well then, hello everyone. My name is Florian, and thank you all for joining or watching the recording of this first session of Amplify F Sharp. Amplify F Sharp is like a new initiative we're trying to launch. This is the first session. A lot of it is brand new, so allow us to introduce the concept first. Edgar, could you allow me to share my screen, and then we could just get started with a couple of things. The participant sharing doesn't seem to be enabled just yet. Thank you very much. Right, as a bit of an introduction or demo, we would just go over the website. We have a little website put together. You can find on amplifyfsharp.github.io, which is a little bit of a GitHub page, just static content. But what we're all about in this initiative is trying to make a difference for the F Sharp ecosystem and try to encourage more people to sort of collaborate on open source software of F Sharps in particular, and try to get some more contributions from people all over the world, with a bit of a focus on people that are in the enterprise space of F Sharp. So to put it bluntly, that people who work for companies that, well, kind of make money with F Sharp, that they can spend a little bit of their time to invest back in that F Sharp ecosystem, and so that more contributions and more people take a seat at the table in various open source projects. Because a part of the problem we think F Sharp as a whole has, and this is a bit opinionated and doesn't really, it's not something that really is accurate for all projects, but when it comes to F Sharp, there's a bit of a what we call the Messiah problem, that one organization or one individual is really carrying the weight of an entire project. And a lot of people are using the project, but it's not really, sustainable if only one organization or person is carrying all the weight, because the danger there is that if that person or set organization just wants to stop with it, then it's not healthy, and then it all just collapses easily. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to inspire people to sort of give back to the projects they are using, particularly, of course, in the F Sharp space. Our projects go from the F Sharp compiler, but basically we want to support any project that just remotely is related to F Sharp. So everybody should really be able to have a place in this. And what we're trying to do is just inspire a lot of people to find a place to collaborate and work together. And we really want to connect the right people to sort of help them with contributing. Before I give the words to David, let me just quickly glance over the first 2 months of this year when we're looking at the .NET F Sharp repository. So as you can see, in the list of contributions, a lot of them are like the F Sharp team, and for the F Sharp language, we have like about 18 people that have contributed. This is just another thing where we really want to inspire people like, hey, it is interesting for you to be in that list to contribute to F Sharp, because a couple of things won't be picked up otherwise. And if you look at other communities, like if you just compare this for Rust is a lot younger than F Sharp, but if you just see in terms of raw contributions they had the first month, they have like 50 people working on it. And that's just really because I believe, I'm not familiar enough with Rust to make any real claims, but I just believe that more companies take a stake in the well-being of the Rust language and the compiler, and that's sort of a trend that we're trying to improve in F Sharp as well. We're all just individual developers, so we don't work for Microsoft. We don't really have but we do have a stake in F Sharp being the best version of F Sharp it possibly could be. When you compare this to another project like Go, they also just had like over near 40 people contributing. Or even another programming language that's tied to a company like Kotlin from JetBrains just has a lot more of people chiming in and doing little bits to help the ecosystem. And then the heart of every ecosystem is the compiler and its tooling. And so that's just one of the things that we just feel like inspiring more people to sort of chime in and to sort of ease out on the Messiah, but just really get like a lot of people sitting on the table, like, hey, this is what we want to do with F# and potentially other projects. So that's just enough about me. David, why don't you enlighten us a bit of who we actually are?
Sure. Share my screen. Oh, you can continue. Okay. Yeah, we are a group of 3 regular guys, more or less, Florian, Edgar, and me. But yeah, let's first talk about what you can contribute to our group. We don't want to limit ourselves to any particular area of F#. It can be anything like the compiler, some package, some library, tool, whatever. If you find an issue and that kind of hinders you in your daily work with F#, feel free to contribute a session and we will have a look at it. It just needs to be open source, of course. And the idea is to work during the daily work hours on these issues, at least in our sessions. So how can you convince your boss? So from our perspective, our initiative is kind of a win-win situation. So the participants in these sessions, they increase their knowledge, their skills, and as a byproduct, they also increase the daily productivity with F# and the F# ecosystem. And by that, of course, your boss, your company also profits from our sessions and our improvements to the ecosystem. So that's the idea, and we hope this is convincing your boss. And if it still doesn't convince your boss, feel free to reach out, and maybe we can find some other arguments for the discussion. So who are we? We wrote testimonials, each one of us, to give you a more detailed view or idea who we are. We are all from more or less different backgrounds. Maybe you know the interesting story of Edgar. Edgar has a pretty significant career change behind him. He was a soldier in the army, and switched career paths to a software developer. And his perspective is that of a newcomer, and he was exposed to the F# compiler as a newcomer, and was very quickly able to make contributions to the compiler to improve the error messages and other things, which he found to be not optimal. And let's go to Florian's testimonial. I think you know Florian as the maintainer of Phantomas. He talks about how open source has helped him in his professional life, how he was able to get into positions he would not have been able to get into without his open source experience, how it has grown his social network, how it has broadened his horizons, and then he goes on to talk about the positive effects of more contributors to a project. You can toss ideas at each other, have a better design discussion about ideas inside of a single project compared to a situation with just one developer making all the decisions. And finally, me. I just talk about the positive effects of a community adopting to a concept like each one teach one. If you don't think about it and you just do it, like you just share your knowledge that you earned with other people, there were lots of positive effects of it. And I can also say that the involvement in open source and the mentorship I found in open source, especially from Florian, has helped me in my private fun in open source and also in my professional career that I'm now pursuing in the open source world. And yeah, that's us. And yeah, we hope more people can join us, want to join us, so our group grows in the future.
All right, thank you very much. And then Edgar, propose you share on your end and then just dive into today's session.
Yes, let me share my screen and I will. Okay, so hello, my name is Edgar, and I would like to start by kind of explaining a little bit why we did take this action, and this is an incitement to take action on why we take the lead, why we decided to do something like this, and it is because we all, as F# developers, rely on open source projects. I think from my experience, F# has I use a lot of open source from F#, and by contributing to the ecosystem, for once I'm reducing the risk on using a language that is not that is. If I'm contributing, there will be less risk to basically that language to disappear or to not be up to date with the error messages and fixing specific issues that might help me as a developer and my company as well. So also because you will learn more about the dependencies that you as a company or you as a developer are taking on your app, on your product. So by contributing, you will get more knowledge about what's going on in that product that you are using. And also will help on the longevity of the language and also the libraries that you are using. If you contribute to the libraries that you use, you know that library will get better and you will have a better experience using those libraries, and also the rest of the community also will improve. Another benefit, in my opinion, is that you will get a lot of personal growth as a professional, as a developer, even as a person, because you will need to interact with different community contributors, with the different owners of the projects, discuss with them, and I'm sure they will be happy to take another contribution, and so their project can also grow. But we need to keep being realistic about how we can also achieve, because even if we want to contribute and try to fix a lot of the problems that are in the F# space, and we are not going against the governance of that repository. So we will respect what if you want to fix something that cannot be, that was suggested before but hasn't been approved or has been rejected before, we are not going to be against that policy on that repository. And we also, for example, in this call we have Florian, who maintains Fantomas. I help maintaining Fabulous, and I have a certain limited scope of what we control as a maintainers. So we are here just to engage with those projects who you are trying to help fixing issues, and get to raising issues and to find a point where we can help them. All of this is about trying to educate ourselves to be able to help the community, help the project, and also get some knowledge during the way. And yeah, that's exactly what we're trying to do here. And from here you can see the list of the let's say projects that we have some sort of knowledge about this. The F# compiler, because we all use the language. the FS autocomplete, because it's really important. It's what powers Ionide. It was powers, a lot of ID integration. We got the resharp F#, which is very important for writer supporting F#, and it's personally is one of the products I really use, and I am looking forward to keep contributing to that one. We all know Ionide VS Code. I think we would be good to help the project trying to improve it and offer a better experience for all of us. And Thomas, of course, we use our source formatter that is the most used in the community. And yeah, I think that is why we did this, what to expect, and what are the realistic expectations that we're trying to achieve here. So yeah, I think with further ado, let's introduce the topic for today's session. The topic for today's session is something that, as a newcomer to the language, I face it, and it took me some time to really realize what was going on. But basically, I am talking about compiler error reporting, and this is one of the things that I have been focusing on the compiler recently, trying to improve the error ranges, trying to see if there is anything that we can improve in terms of how the message is being laid out. Always asking for feedback to the F# team, saying, "Hey, do you think we can improve this?" And this specific issue wasn't raised by me. This specific issue was raised by Eugene from JetBrains, and see if I have the link somewhere. I think I don't have a link.
Yeah, you should be able to click on that .NET F# with the number.
Right, yeah,
cool. That brings you to it.
So this was raised by Eugene, and in this example, he clearly states that, while you are using a class and you have some sort of a method overloading here, and then you are trying to use then something with a string that is not is not part of overloads, is showing you an error, which the error seems to be clear enough, but the range, in my experience as a newcomer, it was a little bit misleading, because it should only show us an error the last part of the method overloading here. So yeah, the plan for today, with the help of Amplifying F# will be to to try to tackle this in a live coding session, collaborate, and we have different backgrounds. I still don't know how can I fix this, but together we can find a way to fix this. So yeah, that's basically the problem, and our proposed solution will be to use more accurate range here. That will be from the dot to the end of the line. So how will we do that? So the first thing first is we need to go to the F# compiler that I already did in order to save some time, which is fork the compiler. Then when you have forked it, you clone it. I mean, if you contribute to open source, you will already know the steps, but basically you fork it, then you clone it, and then once you have cloned it, what you do is on here is to build it. I already did it in order to save some time, but basically in this case we will be using Rider as an IDE, and we will be using only the F# compiler.services, which is not really tied to Visual Studio. So what we did is basically we built it with the flag no Visual Studio, and that will basically give us all we need in order to do that. And the next thing, yeah.
Edgar, I'm super confused. Why aren't we building a solution, and are we executing a build script?
We're basically running the build script that will basically build the solution, I guess, with the no Visual Studio.
Yes, just to expand a bit on that, when you work with the F-sharp compiler, the compiler will do something called F-sharp compiler bootstrapping, where it first builds a version of itself to sort of compile the F-sharp code. So the F-sharp compiler is written in F-sharp. It sort of builds a first compiler, which is called proto, and then that proto compiler will be used to build your initial compiler. And we sort of kick off from there. This isn't super relevant for today, but it's just one of the reasons why we're using a build script, and that's totally covered in the dev guide of the F-sharp compiler, where they mention, you need to do this build, you need to pass in a flag if you're not interested in working on the Visual Studio tooling. So that's exactly what we did there. We did the builds, we did the -no Visual Studio, and that just only builds us the bits that we're interested in to get started with the compiler.
Yes, and now I'm going to open, I think it is only the F-sharp compiler services. Send them to go to the documents, one sec. Yeah, I think I am this machine, I think it's this one, yeah. Cool. The way I normally start solving this, and this is just my own experience, and this is really a good moment to to learn together how to do this. What I normally do is by start everything with a unit test. So I normally take the code, put it in a unit test, and first of all try to replicate what we're trying to fix, and then from there we go on trying to find out where exactly is the problem.
Yes, I believe you opened the entire F-sharp solution. The F-sharp compiler service has a little bit of less projects.
Yeah. This window. Give it a second, it will be it. Yeah, while we wait for Ryder to sync the projects and do all the initialization, I can say that the way I learned how to do this was by basically reading a lot of the compiler documentation that is available in the repo, and there's a really good amount of information here about the coding standards, how the debugging, diagnostics, F-sharp core, and a lot of explanation of the key folders, what they do. And there's also videos about the compiler session that happened before. And so this is really helpful if you're trying to understand what specific part of the compiler you're trying to understand or trying to learn more. This is a good way to start. So this is on the F-sharp docs. That should be a good point to start. Let's see if this is already been doing that, but yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this code and maybe put it into a script here to see exactly how we can do that. So we got a scratch here that we can use. Now let's delete this one here, but if I paste this one here. Oh, sorry. I need to disable compiler, it's messing up with me. Okay. So here we can see the same error that we saw in the GitHub issue, and yeah, I would expect that if this error range will be good it will be more easy to understand if we're only from the 7 to the 22. So only this part here. So this should be only the error, and then the rest shouldn't be included in the error range. So it seems like Ryder is happy. So next thing is and correct me if I'm wrong, Florian or Dave, and that this is a check. This should be somewhat related to the check expression rather than a check declaration.
Yes, might be an interesting thing to sort of take this code and first take a peek at how the untyped tree of this looks like, just as a bit of a starting point. So what you could do is maybe copy the code and quickly glance over to the Phantomus Online tool.
Yeah,
it's an easy way to sort of visualize that.
yeah.
You were indeed right on the money that the current error is being thrown during type checking. And because we already know that or heavily assume it, we can take a look at how the untyped tree looks like. And we know this is the input of what eventually will be type checked. And this is an object model that sort of represents what you typed on the left. It's when the code's being lexed and parsed, it will eventually output kind of a tree model. We don't really need to go over lexing and parsing today. We can just start with, hey, this is a sort of an object model that represents how our code looks like. And then from that syntax representation, we're going to a type tree, which is basically where everything is being checked, whether the types are correct and what expression really means what, and everything is being solved. And in that process, somewhere, there's going to be this error that, hey, you cannot pass a string to the method. So if you exactly scroll to line 122, there's an expression over there,
Yeah.
which is an application, which is exactly what this is going to do.
Yeah.
And then there's this T instant method. So we can sort of recognize a couple of things we wrote in the actual code. And we know once it's going to transform this, once it's going to type check this piece of code, somewhere along those lines, our error will need to be improved, that we don't pass in the entire range of that expression, but that we just try and find the last method word, or potentially the combination of method and then parentheses we can see on 131.
Cool. Yeah, I see that. Correct. Yeah. Okay. So once we know that, we can definitely go to here, back just a bit as a reference, but we can go then to either the just to have that. But I guess we can start by, placing a unit test first to try to see how that happens.
That sounds like a great idea.
Okay, so what you normally do is you go to, there are two places where you can write the unit test. It's either they're called, how's that called? The Cambridge set suite of test, or the component test. I always use the component test here. So here we should find a good way to put the error test, and I guess error messages might be something here that we can use. This is maybe a class test. What do you think about this one? Should we do to put one of these here?
Yeah, sounds reasonable.
Let's copy one. This is the way I do it because I don't really want to type. Put it at the end, and then what I do is copy this. And then, by the way, is the font okay, or should I make it small? Oh, it's really big.
It's okay for me.
So now copy this one here. Let's now copy this one here, and then change these to be some sort of that is relevant to what we are doing today. So Right, so let's copy this for now. And then we will find the best test for this, better name for this. Okay, so in the compiler is the easy way to write a unit test here is to use this function that basically takes strings and then returns a compilation unit. That means here internally you can pass anything that is F# code, and then this will be type check, and then it should be you can basically say if it will be, it should fail, it should succeed, and all that stuff. So for now, we can basically, what I normally do here is basically set something like with diagnostics and then pass here and run the unit test, and then the first time I will see that this basically throw an error, and we know that this is going to fail, but I just want to see this test fail so I can start looking with that. I mean, there might be a different way of doing things, but this is the way I do it. This is the way it has been working for me. So yeah, let's see what this test is going to tell us. Is there any questions so far, maybe in the chat or somewhere? No? Okay.
We're all good.
Yeah. I can see there's a lot of contributors in the chat that contribute to F#, which is really amazing. So I'm really glad about that. So yeah, this might take a little bit, but yeah, once we see that this is failing, we can start looking at what's the actual range and then do that. But while this is waiting, we can one way I normally do this is that if I know what's the error that is throwing, sometimes for me it's useful to go from start searching for where that actual error is thrown by using by locating where the error is thrown, and by that there's a really important file in the F# compiler. It's called fscom, I think it is.
Yep.
fscom txt. And then on here, there's where all the error, well, not all, but most of the errors that are being errors, warnings, or the copy that is used in those errors or warnings are here. So I guess if you are confused in the future and you're going to find a way or a place where all those errors are here in the fs.txt, and there is a terminal command that you need to run in order to this to be generated and be consumable in a different format. Okay, now our test is running. And I expect this will fail if I did the right thing. Almost there, almost there. Yay, we have that is failing, and we see that a lot of these error messages here, but the important part we're trying to fix is, like, this is saying that we have it's basically saying that this goes from line 8, column 1, which is basically here, to the end, line 22, and what we want is something that goes from line 8, but we can locate this one here, which is 12. So yeah, let's try to dig more more a little bit more deep and see where that is going on. So next step.
Before we continue, Edgar, could you maybe change this to pick the net 7?
All right, yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna
Sure.
make things a little bit easier.
Cool. So where we should look at and trying to see where the range is going. So the first thing I will do is look for something called check expression. Check expressions. And here we have 2 files, the FS and FSI. Let's go to the FS. And on here, for now, I don't know where exactly that is going, but we know that we have some entry points here where we can start, to put some breakpoints and see exactly where that is going. So going to start from the bottom because we know that at the bottom will be the entry points, but I don't know if you know anything. If anyone know anything that will can save me time, I'm more than happy.
It's a bit of a large file, isn't it? So that's kind of a needle in the hay. I would actually, because we ran the unit test, we know it's error 41, and we know it says no overloads match. So I would actually take that no overloads match and see, does that match with anything in that text file?
Yeah, this is what I say, and I'm not doing that. And this is basically this.
There we go.
All right, we have.
Yes, and if we now just look into the solution, where is this guy being used?
It should, but to my surprise, it's not used in the check expressions. It's used in the compiler diagnostics.
Well, which isn't a bad thing. I think you can maybe focus a little bit when you press the either the CC or the W. Yes. So then there's the text file, and then there's a compiler diagnostics.
Mm-hmm.
And so that already gives us a clue that eventually it's going to end up here.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we can then go from here to upwards.
Exactly. We'll try and reverse.
So method name, where this is method name we use is here. The overloads also come from here. This is failure is coming from this is pass through here, and then we have here associative pattern matching. Then okay, it's unresolved overloading, so we know that someone is throwing this. It's a large file there. So yeah, this is some sort of exception, isn't it?
Yes, I believe this really covers how the exception is then being translated to the string that goes into, well, your standard error log. And as Vlad mentioned in the chat, there's localization in play as well. So that's also part of why that text file is being used. Right. So it might be interesting to indeed try and find. So if you go back to the place where we first hit the compiler diagnostics, there's this no overloads found. Let's just go to that definition and see what that is.
This one.
Yes, that seems like a good one.
Constraint solver, yeah. And this one here is the type that has a case of failure.
So I'm guessing somewhere in constraint solver, this will be instantiated. So that's also just an interesting thing we can do to see every place in the solution where this is instantiated. There's actually a shortcut in Writer you can do to navigate to all those things.
Find usages.
Yes, find usages.
Okay, we got 3 usages. We got one in the constraint solver and then 2 in the drivers.
But we can actually see that the first usage is where it's apparently instantiated, and then the other 2 are where they are pattern matched on.
Yeah.
Or that's what it looks to me. So I guess we can drill into the first one where we see where it's being created.
Yeah, here's instantiated. DM, this is the range.
Yes, exactly. So might be interesting to just put a breakpoint here. And I mean, we're making a lot of assumptions at this point. Let's just debug our unit test and see if we actually get to that point.
Yeah. Let's try and do that. I'm maybe expecting that this range here, the end here, will be the complete that we are passing down the complete range and not passing the the last part of the range. Okay, so we have this method. So let's do something interesting and let's put these here side by side, and then also yeah. Right, now go away. Okay. And for now, let's do this one here. So here we know that the method name is, let me go all the way down. All right, so we know exactly method name, method errors. We have 2 errors here, and then
It actually makes sense because our error message was speaking of, hey, there are 2 overloads and you tried something that didn't fit either one of those.
yeah. Yeah,
that's fine, but I'm curious in this in the value of M, what do you get there?
we got the whole thing from 0 to 21, which is basically means all the thing. So I guess now we can start looking at where this is being passed, the M. And then here is the end, which is something that is I don't exactly know what is this, a constraint, an environment, some sort of environment that has the thing, and this is being passed. This is from G, which is being passed then here. So I guess we need to look who is calling this one.
Yep. Could you go back to your debug window and press on threads and variables?
Yep.
Yeah, and then we can sort of see at the call stack where we exactly are coming from. So that's also an interesting way to sort of drill back. If you then click on the next.
Yeah. Actually, to be honest, I haven't used this in the past. What I do is I do, I go the hard way. I go just basically look for the reference, and that's the way I do it. But yeah, it's good to know. Yeah. So here we know that the M, this is the one that we were looking at, is being created here, which is make. I guess next thing we need to do is to go to this here. Right now. This M is still the complete M.
If you hover over method name, what's that exactly?
Which one?
Over method name after the M.
Method, yeah, is still the M.
So it might also be interesting to see where did that method exactly came from, because we saw in the online tool that it's going to be probably somewhere in the AST, and based on that, it will have a range. And it might just be interesting, the moment that name is being extracted from the untyped tree, perhaps it also still has the range, and we can sort of extract that as well and try and pass it along with the name.
Right, so name is being passed here, which is a function. Let's see who is calling this one.
No, you really want to click into the next stack frame there. So we know it's coming from method application a little bit down below. If you look into the debug window.
Yeah, here. Method, yeah, method is here, which is then being passed. Then we can, try to look at who is calling this. It's here, method application, then method application, then method name is still here. And then next is method name is still here. Name still here. This is where it's being passed around.
That looks like an interesting place. There's this item.method group, which sort of has the yes, so it's being repacked over there in case there are no type providers. Can't really say that we're hitting that code path, but if you look at the first match on the item, a little bit below 8,981.
81.
So 8,981.
Yeah, that's one.
No, I'm talking about line numbers. Let me just draw. I like drawing. Yes,
All right.
exactly. Good draw, David. So let's maybe put a breakpoint there. And I'm believing, so this method group really seems to be what we're talking about. And let's see the moment where this kind of method group is created, perhaps we can see that it came from somewhere in the untyped tree and actually has the range of the name as well.
Yeah, yeah. At the method group, possibly mid-size here, once this actually mid-size. Right. So the item here will be method group method. So if I then do this, it will go here, method name. Has the two info, which means these are the two available overload resolution that the available. And then I guess that is skip here, it might be the range.
That's wishful thinking, but you can go see in the definition what that actually is. No, not really what we want.
No.
No, but let's maybe go back there. That was actually a good point to, again, try and figure out where were all these things created. So if you then go back and you want to like put your cursor on method group and do the, not really sure how your shortcuts are, but it's Alt F7 for me to sort of find all references.
Yeah, function users. Much quite a lot.
So it's a popular thing, but there might be some sort of create a point in time where it's being created. So I would guess that's like a name resolution thing.
Yeah, name resolution is still something that I haven't really think much on it, but yeah, it seems to be something that might help us.
There also is a bit of a way to sort of filter these things better. I don't know by heart how exactly to do that, but if you sort of mess around with settings like this, you can actually find where it's being instantiated, read and write access.
We're interested on write access, isn't it?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, so we have only this. So check expression, name resolution, we have this. Let's, start by the first one, I guess, and then look for that. So this one here, not exactly what we need. No.
I think you accidentally turned off the write access because it's like a Boolean on-off flag.
All right. It's the other way around.
Right.
Thank you, Charlie.
Maybe it's this one. So I don't see a bar before it, and that sort of indicates that's not being pattern matched
This
on.
one or the second one?
Yeah, this one. So the first one. And there's this make method group. So that already seems kind of interesting. It has like a bit of a factory vibe to it.
Make method. Yeah.
Yes. So perhaps let's put a breakpoint there. I'll have to leave some cookie crumbles to see where we're actually at. And let's just find the usages of this make method group. See what pops up there.
Okay, so then go here. Let me put this one here. In the meantime, let me go back to my debug. Sorry, where the debug here. Up here, and then go back to my unit test and run it again. Right, and then these here, then we know that these are the places where it's being used.
Yep. And if we know exactly where that is coming from, perhaps we'll be early on in the process that we still get some reference to the untyped tree, and potentially even have access to the range there.
Cool. So we're here, and the first thing is being called is here. Make icon group.
So let's double check where that string is coming from. So nm would be method, and perhaps that's coming from somewhere or just being passed on.
All right, yeah. All the way down here, yeah, ID text.
Ah, jackpot. So ID text that looks like it's an ident, and an ident also has an ID range.
Yes.
So maybe let's just go to the definition of ID text real quick. Sort of clarify where that's coming from. Yeah, you can see that this is a syntax tree, which is the thing we saw in the online tool. So this has the ID text and then the ID range, which will represent where in the text our string method actually occurred. And I believe that's the information we should use to better represent where that overload problem pops up.
That really makes sense. So instead of passing the ID text, should we pass the ID itself, and then, or basically pass either add a new and a new, pass also the range as part of that, or just use the whole thing?
I guess that will depend a little bit on who's creating this what's it called, method group all over the code base. So if more people are using it directly with a string and don't have access to it, that might influence what we want to do. If more people just, because I mean, shot in the dark, but if this method info thing feels like something that's going to be generated outside of having actual source code. So not everything that's typed in the text file will eventually become a method group. I believe you'll have method groups just by, I don't know, I guess just F# kind of things, like being able to have equality and stuff like that might just generate method groups on the fly. So I wouldn't be totally convinced that method group always has the information. So we'll have to make some sort of decision based on all the callers of method group.
Let's see what are the colors then. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 colors. The first one is on the here. I guess on here
So these first two seem to be the code path we're currently hitting.
yeah,
And there we know we have the range, but what about those last two?
yeah, the last two. Yeah, they seem to me that we can pass an extra with the range.
I guess there are maybe, I mean, short term, there are two options. If we go back to the definition of method group, we could potentially, so yeah, if you just circle back to item.method group, I guess we could change the display name to be an items and work our way up that way. But on the other hand, maybe we could just add an optional range argument if we know if we have the name range, because I do believe in a lot of cases we might not have an actual range to work with.
Yeah, I mean, I would say add the optional range, just because that way by fixing this we will break a lot of unit tests in a way, because a lot of tests will be.
Oh yes, well, if we touch this, we'll break a lot of codes. That's the beauty of it. But we can just start somewhere, and maybe it's going to be slightly more interesting to just add the optional range there, and then sort of see what happens.
So right, so we have the display name. This is community union. Has this. So all we can add is if I'm not wrong, this is the range option.
Yes, and I guess we want to give it a name as well.
All right, of course, yeah. Right, so this is going to be no range, no, how can we call this? ID range.
Display name range, maybe?
Yeah. Display name range. And this should be it. But there's something that we need to do before we do that, is update also the FSI.
Yes, correctly.
Yes, so I wish there was something that I can press on Rider to say update FSI 5.
Something for a future session.
Yeah. So let me change this. And then come back here, look for where is this, and then on here. All right, so in here yeah, I forgot about this. I just basically copy this, isn't it?
Yep, that should do it.
Right, so that should do it, I guess. Okay. And now we go to the resolution, and we have a lot of code I have broke.
Yep, as expected. So maybe just for fun, let's stop debugging for a while, build the solution, and see what the damage is.
The damage. So way the unit just go away. Okay. Now let's run the solution into do we still have some people interested, or they run away?
Some people are still here.
Nice. Cool. So yeah, this is the beauty also of collaborating when someone inexperienced like myself is trying to fix something that it's you're not familiar with, or is it something that really specific? A person like Florian or David, they can really guide you and help you through do something that maybe without their their help, you couldn't do it. So this is also a good way of saying, you don't need to really have everything figured out. Just you need to, but you know what you want to fix. So it's something that we will, help you, and we will try to help you to figure out, do the research together, so you can learn and we can also learn. Cool. So the damage was not as much. We got some damage on name resolutions, and then we got some check expressions, I guess, because they use name resolution, and then some helpers and all that stuff, but nothing too crazy. So let's start with the first one. All right. So this one here is expecting now a optional range here. So in this case, right, now I'm confused here. So here we need to pass a sort of range, but the info, the ID is method info.
Remember, we're calling this make method group in a location where we knew we had the range. So potentially we can just extend that and have it take a second parameter, which is an optional range. So something like name.
Should we have a new one, or should we just change this one here? I guess.
Oh, we'll just change this one, so it'll be fine. We can just always call it. Well, we can just call it. Sorry, make it optional and then see if that really fits or not. Or, I mean, if DF# team wants to see it different, they'll definitely tell us. So
when you say optional, you mean to pass it to
yes.
the whole.
And the name, no, just as an option type, not necessarily. Perhaps as an option. Yeah, let's just make it an option type from now.
Like this.
Yeah, seems like good to me. I would rename it to like M, like lowercase m, and then name range or something. Or sorry, m name, and then drop the range, because the prefix for range is typically the lowercase m. That's also described in the docs there. And now we just pass in our m name 2 lines below. That would be the first error. But of course, we're sort of moving the problem to the call side now. So we'll need to double check who's using make method group and then see what we can pass along there.
The first thing is this.
Yeah, so this is kind of where we knew we had the range. We can just pass in the sum there.
And then we'll what's that, this one here?
Let's see where m is coming from. So no, nm is going to be a string. So let's just see where that string came from.
Yeah, I remember it was some sort of here ID.
Yeah, so there should be an ID range in that property as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, lowercase ID.
And then comma here. Right, this feels good. Now next one is going to be, are we still on the case where we have the NF?
Yeah, that seems like the same function, so we can just pass that in.
Sum.id.id.range. Okay, the next one here. This is more interesting because here we have the method range. Wow, this is, here what is generating a name map infos. This is a tricky one. Understand at least.
So at face value, without really knowing what this name map is, it seems to be used in combination with a list map. And we know that make method group just took a tuple, so to speak. So I'm guessing this whole name map to list is going to create a tuple as well. So we probably want to wrap that item dot make method group just in a lambda, and that lambda just takes in the tuple is like takes in the tuple of the original items. So X is going to be a tuple here. So maybe we'll just split that already up.
For now, just let me call this. I know the names are not really scripted, but just to know what I'm dealing with.
Yeah. But instead of that being, so it's going to be like tuple. So you want to need parentheses and add a comma in between there.
Yeah.
And then you want your closing parentheses to be after that item that make method group.
All right. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. This is true. Every time I found something like this, it
yeah. And so this is what it used to do, and you were able to just pass in well, the tuple of X and Z, but we changed this to
all right. Yes.
take the range as well. So
let me do that. So let me then pass. Let me change. I guess the X here will be
X is kind of the name. Then the range. Well, we're not really sure if we have it, so let's maybe just pass in none for now.
Right, and then the next one will be the
C.
C.
And you still want to have that closing parentheses at the lambda. There we go.
Let me try to digest this a little bit. So let's just call it NM. And then this, what was this called before? It was
they used M infos or something like from short for method infos.
This copy this from here. It's easy to just put in method. Right, so that's it from now. But okay. Next one is this one here. And then the last one is this one here. So I guess I need to do the same here because we kind of
that seems very similar.
And then all right, so it's something like this, and then it will be math info. Info, I think was, then we call this like this. Then I will just basically set up this, and then I will call this, and then it's going to be math info. But that's the second one. We're going to pass it on here or now. But wait, do we have information? No.
We can always improve on things like that later on.
Yes.
You have to keep in mind that information wasn't there in the first place. So whether it's everywhere, nothing really would change. So
yeah. So now let me start closing some of the things. So don't really focus on that. Now name resolution, we still have some issues here. Right. So let's go by this. Right. So here, item method group. I guess we really don't care about the second one.
What I would do in this case is use a named access. So the first one we don't use, the second one we don't use, and actually the fourth one we don't use as well. So what we can do in that case, if you go back to the definition of this method group.
I see. I remember what we did last time. So is this?
Yes, it would exactly. It will be methods, and because we're only using that, you can just put that in front with an equal sign.
Right, and then I can get rid of this here. And then
Yes.
also get rid of this one here.
Yep. Exactly that.
Right, and then on here, the same thing, I guess. I can go here and then just copy display name. And then we can remove this. I should do it.
Mhm.
Right, so
If you actually, yeah, so this one more or less all the same.
all right. So sorry, I need to methods. And then I will just get rid of this. And then get rid of this. And it should have,
Okay, so I'm gonna stop you right now. Put your
Yep.
cursor back in the file. All right, now press F2.
F2.
F2, please, yes.
All
That,
right.
that brings you to the next problem.
Oh my God, yeah, I'm learning this, how to use Rider properly. Okay, so on here we have, do we have the ID somewhere? We have a way to know the method name. Where is this, the method name coming?
It's coming
Method
from
name here, yes.
method infos, and then so I would just assume that we're not entirely sure what this does, so let's just pass in none for now.
Yeah, that's solution.
Would actually just advise that for all of it, and then we just see it working with our case where we do know we have the data.
Okay, F2. Oh, lovely. I love this. Now, yeah, here I would just
Exactly, just add a wildcard. If you're only ignoring one value, it makes sense to use a wildcard. But here you're actually only using one value, so it makes a bit more sense to have the named access there.
and then also this one here, I guess I will do it. Also, I think there's no intelligence for when you are looking for this here. It's really hard to find, so this doesn't appear on the intelligence. It's really, it should. I don't know. That's something we can maybe improve.
Session tree, my friend. Session tree. I already got my eyes on that one.
Then next one, in this one here, we don't know exactly. Again, we can pass them.
Well, maybe just maybe we know. When you think about it, we just ignored it over here, but let's just take the range and whether that's something or nothing that seems like applicable to just pass it on over here.
So
No, we don't know it's some yet. So either it's something or nothing, but we just give it the name like M name, for example. Sorry, M from marker. Yes, exactly. And then just pass it along. So whether it really is filled in or not.
oh yeah, of course, yeah,
Exactly. Just passing it along.
Oh. Well, here we can do the same thing. We can just do this thing. Right, and then here the same thing. Well, this has some quality of life stuff, but not something that I normally do, but in this case really makes sense. Oh, 25 errors to go, so should be fun. Okay, this is interesting. So here we have, well, no, it's not that different.
Yes, named access. It's always named access.
username access, so I can just do this, put methods here, and then I'll remove the one down.
Another interesting thing about using this name access, if we, for example, in a couple of months see the need to add yet another thing to this method group, like a fifth
It wouldn't break.
item, it wouldn't break exactly.
That's a good one, yeah. Right, so next one. Here, we are, I can do the same here. I can pass it along, I guess.
Yeah, seems reasonable.
The other way around. Yeah. Right. Nice. Oh my god. Yeah, if someone would use this what we are doing now before, it wouldn't break so much. It's fine. Okay, should be fine. Perfect. F2. Right. All right, so same thing here. Put methods, put it one here, and then I will only, but then I need to add the other one, of course, here.
Yeah, for display name, you'll need the same thing. It's still near clipboard, yeah. And you'll need to change this to be a semicolon, as those are separate.
Yeah, that's always confused me. And then, well,
Yeah, named access. You're only using one thing there, so.
let me just pass it here, basically. Do I want to do the thingy here? Yeah, I need that. Otherwise, not going to do it. So, right, so change this. Then put this one here. Let's check this. That's one the name, and then check this, and then I will pass this along.
No, actually, we're pattern matching two items here. So this isn't being used, and then you just need to have the name access for the in case of an empty list.
So when you say name access, oh yeah, I got you. And then with this. Cool. Are you happy? Yes, you are. Next one. Okay,
I would just pass in none. We we're not really sure. So.
Oh my god, I did something terrible.
You pressed F1 instead of F2.
Yeah, up to the best. Okay. So here the same thing. I can get the access, put methods here. All right. So here, check this. Check it. Right. Are you happy? Yes. Two. Now here. We'll pass none for now. Nice. Okay. I think we are good. Let me build again this. Oh, stop.
Yeah. So we're going to stop you there. Stop, please. We just changed one product, so it doesn't really matter that we try and build the whole solution. We can actually just focus on building just a compiler project. So if you scroll a little up, then I would just build the project instead of trying to build the whole solution.
Yeah. This project isn't.
Exactly.
So ideally with this change, still not happy. How many? So I noticed that the compiler reports 3 times the same error. So it repeats the error 3 times. I don't know if that's, I haven't really gone down to that to see what's going on, but it seems like it repeats the, the same error 3 times. Anyway. Here I think we passed none.
Mm-hmm.
Now, then F2.
Go to the next file, yes.
So, okay, so M-infos, let me try to understand this. I guess here we need to.
Well, it depends on where this is coming from, I believe. So these are typical problems where you need to find the first one that's trying something and then just solve accordingly. Exactly. So let's start with an easy one like that.
Okay, so so in this case,
I just put an underscore, it's a little.
can either discard this or apply name arguments for this, but we need to apply 3 arguments here. I guess. Yeah, for now we'll put this, but yeah, I will, once we have this working, I will have maybe apply name arguments for that.
Exactly. Maybe shortcut with some underscores for the stream.
Okay, this is another good one here. We have this, and we're not sure here, so we pass none. And then right, are you okay? Yes, I hope so. Yeah, sometimes it takes some, let's colorize that. I believe that was it.
True, but you already solved a couple of those. So fixing one thing typically takes care of a couple of issues. So
Okay, so this is interesting one here. So this one here, we can put none here. And then that will then fix that. This M-info, which is calling this. And let's just go back to comment.
I would just cycle through them with F2, and then eventually you'll find the root.
Yeah, for example, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess this is actually one of those cases where we can pass in the item group and then pass it to this case.
Mm-hmm. And that will fix the other one.
Yep. Then I guess one last F2. Get the last one. Yep. So you can underscore named access you choose.
And then here should be okay. Well, you can play the type, range options, a list. Okay, yeah. Cool. Let's build the product, the project, I guess.
And actually scroll down and just go to the next files. Your lists of your previous builds will still most likely include them. So yeah, you can just open that file and we'll more or less have the same problem there.
Take
So
expression.
we finished check expression, and then you should go to the next file, simple helpers, and it's going to be more of the same.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with the name arguments now, so I will just put out underscores for now, but yeah, definitely something to clean up later. Mhm. Okay, so these are two names and then do that. So yeah. For this, and then right, that one. All right. Then this method group. Right. And then on here the same. All right. Next one. In a sec. Need to exercise my wrists. Mhm. Mhm. Last two ones are a yeah. I know I can name it here and pass it there. And then pass it that one there. All right, and then the last one is underscore here. Another underscore here. Another underscore. Okay. Symbols, I guess. Now time for symbols. All right, so let's start with this one. Okay, so we have display and info, display name. So for now, pass none. This is a little bit repetitive, but you know, it is what we need to do. So don't be discouraged if you need to do a lot of this while you are contributing, because that's basically the nature of it. Right. Oh wait. When it's not right, okay.
Yeah, I'll be fine. Just hit F2 and then start solving the next one. Eventually, Rod catches up with you.
Yeah. It seems like it's maybe this file is too big. All right, so
A file in the Sharp compiler too big? What nonsense is that?
You know, they say clean code, so you have a function, you have 20 lines. So.
That one is actually an invocation, so we need to change it to none.
Yeah, I was just basically automatizing everything. Okay, so none, and then right, and then say here none. And then this one here, this is where I can put my underscore. I can put my underscore.
No, actually, that last underscore was part of constructor group, so we did change that. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, this file is good.
Oh no. Semantic classification. All right, so let's start by putting this then F2.
Oh, that was it.
Is that it? No way.
Oh, next file.
I think a contribution is good first issue will be to replace all this underscore with name arguments and across the compiler.
We might want to work on a Alt Enter shortcut first for that.
Yeah, true. All right, and then metal group. I'll touch those parentheses. So
yeah, next file. You can actually just see it up top in the corridors. There's no longer red, and
yeah,
I just go for it.
okay. So to my come on.
Oh, just F2, just F2. It's gonna be fine.
Oh, here I can pass it, I guess. Yes, I can pass it. So I'm just going to be saying a name, and then copy this name and paste it here. And now we do F2. All right, so here I can adjust this. Then F2. Where am I? Yes, so here I can pass a parentheses. Sorry, underscore. F2. All right, so 0, correct. Let's speed up this a little bit. Right, that's done. Let's have results. And method group. Here I'm just going to pass a underscore F2. And right, so my underscore here. And then F2. Okay, let's go. Okay. Okay, one more, then this goes, and that's it. I think that is it.
All right, ready to build it.
Ready to build it. Ready to build it. It's also good. Some people use the CI as when you're working across the compiler, and even if we have only work on the compiler service, the CI will basically is the single source of truth where it's going to tell you that something else somewhere has failed and you don't know exactly just yet. see the chat. Anything I'm missing?
No, I think that's good. So while this is building, and because it's taking a while, I'm sort of assuming things will work out for us. What we can do now is sort of press on these little dots here.
Where?
I'm drawing it, or it's not.
Oh, yeah.
And you want to go to bookmarks. Now, bookmarks will also contain your breakpoints, and that's an easy way to sort of get back to where we already were in the code.
Yeah.
If you click one of those, exactly. So
Yes, that's really good.
now we know that make method group will have our display name, and then we kind of knew in constraints solver that we somehow need to get the method name is coming from somewhere here, and we'll need to be able to pass in that name from wherever that was coming. So that's going to be one of the next things to do, and the good news is that the build succeeded.
Oh, nice. So basically now we need to extend the matcher overload palms to also receive the range here in order to be able to use it.
Exactly. So this M at the end, this, like we discovered, was the full thing over here. And we'll just need to check where this method name comes from. We know it's going to be part of that method group, and so we'll just need to pass it, well, pass the range or the optional range along the way so that we have access to it.
So we can basically maybe add these, extend these to second.
No, not really. So the invocation of this is fine, and if you go back. So here, this fail overload, it's going to call everything. It's going to have our method name, and it's this range at the end, this last M. That's the one that's not really correct, or that's a bit too large for our taste.
I see, yeah.
Exactly. And if we scroll up, our method name is coming from somewhere, and let's just maybe add another parameter here that says, hey, yes, now also add the method name range or something like that.
So it is method name range.
Just maybe add a type annotation just for this call where it says it's a range option. That will just help us later on.
So this is a range option.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and do I need the that one? Should be okay, isn't it?
Yeah, you actually need parentheses because you have the type annotation.
Yeah, that's right. Then
then most likely the next error, or one of the next errors, is going to be that this isn't being used. So maybe we can start with doing that. So we'll need to figure out where this is coming from, this method name range, but let's maybe just start by using it in our function at the end. So right before that, well, what was it that, yes, our breakpoints, so this overload found. When we scroll at the end, this M isn't really accurate. So let's maybe change the M to something that does something with this method name range. So we know it's an option, so let's maybe just a little bit inline it at the end. Instead of M, let's like do a option.default value.
so I see what you mean. So basically something like this option.
True, but you'll have to be a little bit cautious where, yeah, default value. And you'll have to wrap the whole thing in parameters. So the last parameter of that function is just a range. So let's just do our little thing in parentheses right now. Yep, and the default file, sorry, we'll try the method name range first, but if that doesn't work out, let's just fall back to the M.
Yeah, well, I think this should be.
No, let's take a step back.
Is that-
So yeah, this just should be M, the method name range, which we added to the function signature.
Yeah. Range.
Exactly. And then that stuff can go away.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's been too long.
And perhaps the order needs to switch. So could you hover over default value? How that exactly works? So it takes in a value and then an option. So this is already our option. So you probably want to squeeze M in there and not do the pipe thing.
Yeah, so it's the other way around. Basically, it's something like this, then option.default, and then as is the M here, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, exactly. So if you want to do it like that, you just need to pipe it.
And then this is still failing because it says that the info.
Oh yes, we added a extra parameter to the file, and every place in the code where that where the function is being executed will now not pass in that method range. So that's where we see errors all over the file. So we'll need to find the usages of this method overload and then see where we need to improve that first.
Well, it's not too many. So this is the first one. And then here.
So we see that there's a NM, which seems to be the name. Sorry.
Yes, but we need to pass something else here.
Well, we need to pass either the range if we have it, or so it really depends where we are at this point.
So at this point we are on the method info here. I don't think we have it just yet.
Well, either we have it or we need to pass it a couple of layers down. So that's still a bit to be determined.
So I guess for now we can pass it none here.
We could start out with just passing a none.
And then we have another NM here. I'm sorry, I'll just put it in the wrong place.
All right. You can see that a lot of problems just go away by doing that. This one might actually be the place where we're seeing method name again. So could you perhaps just look and see where this function is being called?
Yes, so it's just here. And we passed here none. So I guess it will be.
But no, sorry, so where the second function is being called?
You mean
yes, if you where this for call is called. So we're not talking about method resolve overloading, but resolve overloading for call. Where is that one coming from? Yes, exactly.
And that's something that it doesn't really tell me where that's being called. So usages show me.
Maybe just search for all text just inside the project.
Yeah, so we have the definition here. It's being called here. which is we have method name, but it's not receiving anything here.
Yeah, but if you go there, then this gets the method name, and let's just try and hunt for the method name, because at some point we'll have it.
Yeah, here.
So maybe not here, we need to add it over here. So we need to still add the method name range, but eventually when we trace it back, we'll have it. So try and find out who's using this function down at the top. So not, yeah, who's invoking this one.
Using this one here.
Exactly.
So this is this one, the definition is here, and then so we have one call here, which is that has a name. And we have also this one here that has a name. So let's start with this name here, and this one here we need to pass a known because we don't have anything. Oh wait.
Okay, so I guess we'll need to do some more scavenging. Who's calling this function? Because I really think at some point we'll find item method group again and be able to piece together who's.
Yeah, this is calling places.
Yes, but could you? Yeah, this is kind of called all over the place.
Now, relation is yes, that's better. So, show read access and show write access. I need to have the write access. So it's called here, but on here we don't have. So method name here is coming from here, which is
that's not the one we're interested in. So again, constructor group. So
no. Delay, no. Delay said no.
So maybe try and find item dot method group in that file. Does that hit a lot? Oh, that's already a good spot actually. So we can see look up item dem, which has the item, which already has the thing. So let's scroll a little bit further, but we go to the next ones.
This one, the name, and then here. Well, we're ready. Well, we're not passing here. We need to pass through this one here in order to pass it to the application then, and then going down to the rest.
True, but this whole no type providers block seems a bit confusing. I'm not really sure. Was this our breakpoint or?
Good question. So this is, where is this called? This is on the check expressions. Yes. So yeah, this is one of our breakpoints. Yeah. Well, no type provider means that it's for anything that is not type provider. So this should be good.
True. I'm sort of wondering whether that's the right candidate or that we just sort of assumed. But yeah, let's maybe just put some. We have our breakpoints, and let's just put one higher, maybe. So if we, oh yeah, right. We already have that one for item. So we know somewhere here we need to start passing in the range of the name. So let's just debug the unit tests. Might be easier to do it from the right tab. So you have the, exactly. You have the test open on the right.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Exactly, just play from there, debug. So we'll need to sort of follow along where that's happening, and because the breakpoints of the item will most likely show us already the correct range, and then I think it's a matter of passing that along wherever we pass in method name.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's passed. If we modify this, we also modify this. So if we pass
so we might need to pass it a couple of times down before we get it to the place that we really want. But let's just go with that instinct for now.
Okay. Oh, something is not working. All right, so this is constraint solver, and this here is expecting this one. But for now, if we want to just pass this, we can pass none here for now. No, I don't think it's expecting. What is it expecting? I'm expecting a range. So for now, just to prove the point, we can pass this none. Then we can figure out that one. This is what I said. It's calling when there's a one error, it's showing me 3 times the same error, which is confusing sometimes, but yeah. How long have we been streaming?
It's actually almost 2 hours.
Oh my god! I thought it was an easy one, but look at this. But yeah, I mean, at least I want to continue to see that the range is being fixed, and then push this and see what the CR says, what's broken, and then adapt, continue from there.
Exactly, we're kind of close to passing along the range where we really need it, and once we have that, we can sort of call it a day and sort of clean it up afterwards.
Yeah. I mean, most of these contributions that I do is take me maybe a week trying to from when you see the error where to trying to fix it, and then submit the pull request, see the CI failing, and then adjust or ask the team why is this failing. And yeah, so far the team has been really helpful too.
Edgar, can you change the resolution of the stream, or is it some default thingy from Zoom?
You mean on YouTube or here?
On YouTube, in which resolution the stream is passed on to YouTube?
I have no idea. I will check out for next time. I just basically said live on YouTube from Zoom, and yeah, maybe a setting that we can tweak for next time.
Yeah. Okay.
So maybe that my laptop is doesn't have much resolution of one. So. Okay. Anything relevant here? Well, Yes.
Well, is the range there? Okay.
Oh, that's a different range from 11 to 17. That's a different one. Okay, let's continue. See if we can get to the, let me remove this. The item, this is what we're looking at. It's called method, and now has the display name range, which is from 11 to 17, which makes sense. So now, so this is 0, so it's going to be 12. It's going to be from the dot 11 to 17, which is this. But that may be a different thing, isn't it? Because
the columns are actually 0 based internally, so I'm not entirely sure, but if you put your cursor in a writer and do just -1, then that probably adds up. Yeah.
That's explained why the other in my previous contribution I was confused with that. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it should be okay. Nice. So do you want to check now if we hit this breakpoint here?
Yes, but maybe put a breakpoint a little bit further. So if this isn't the one, then we want to, I guess, scroll a little bit and yes, put one here exactly. All right. So we know we're passing the method name over here, and we know for sure that this is also going to need the
range.
The range exactly. So we can maybe just stop there at the range and see where this is going.
Where's the name? Just to put it close to here. There's going to be named the range.
And just put in that range option typing for now.
Yeah, it's not there. We have some range option. Right. Method name range. So before we do that, let's use this place here.
May have passed it already. So
Right.
it's most likely going to be this TC method application, because I see method name over here is also just being passed out.
Oh, yeah, we need to also do that. We need to pass the method,
exactly. I would just pass it along. Just for now, and then later we can see if it makes sense to sort of clean this up. But let's get to the solution with the shortest path for the remainder of the stream. So if you indeed go to that definition, do the same thing.
Range option. Sorry, this, and then call it down here, and then yeah, I guess we need to go back and fix the so that we focus on this one here.
Yeah, we might already be close actually. So let's just double check where method name is being passed.
Yeah, let me do that by basically looking for this. Right, so here's method name pass. Oof, more stuff. But
could be this one, but at the same time could be another one.
I guess is overload, unique overload inference might be something relevant to them.
Maybe just go in there and see if we already been there.
No.
So I guess it might not be the one we're looking for. So,
No. And then the loan. There it is. So
oh yes, that rings a bell, doesn't it?
yeah. So we just basically need to use this one here, but we will need to pass none, I guess, for all of the rest and just use it here. Rest.
Yes, so you want to do it that one. Oh yeah, and this, I think we're pretty close actually. So
Yes, so let me copy that one there. Then pass it to here, then we will pass it. Expecting that we have, did we add
we already did something with like resolve overloading, just probably not resolve overloading for call. So if you drill into that one.
Yeah, we need to pass the here, the range, and then pass the
Yes, exactly.
and this is friendly because
Yeah, the signature says it's something different, so we'll need to fix that as well. But let's maybe first pass that through this none here.
sorry,
No worries.
what did you say?
Yes, so this method name range needs to be passed to this none. So I believe that's the final point where it needs to go to. And then if we go into the signature file and just update what our resolve function should be.
I was expecting this taking me to the FSI.
No, because you just changed what this does, and that's why it can no longer map to what's in the signature file. So when you were to do this without changing it, then that would most likely work.
Is that right?
Yep, looks good.
So it's happy. Now we need to then just to finish the point is that some point here we are using that one here, which is here. So I guess we have done it.
Well, in constraint solver, we most likely need to circle back to check expression, and that's gonna break all over the place, but passing in a couple of nuns there to satisfy everything should do it.
Should I build the solution to see where it's breaking?
You can, but we already pretty much know it's gonna fail in check expression, so you can just Ctrl-Shift-F your way to there. Exactly. And then we know, so yes, resolution overload call takes in the name, and I would just find every other usage of that. So just copy paste this one, do like a Ctrl-F within the file. Oh, there's only one.
Yeah, it's something, I guess, different. Maybe that this here doesn't have.
Is method name range already known? We changed a couple of things there as well. So most likely other functions calling this function are not passing in none for the method name range.
So this one here.
If you scroll a little bit up, like the function TC method application is probably being called a lot of times without passing an option for the range.
All right, so let me do this and this. All right, so here we have the name and we have none, that's fine.
Mhm.
Is
But
it
then
the name?
this one's fine, but then there's going to be one usage where it's so there's 3 of them, as you can see.
Yeah,
The other one's probably not going to be fine. So just circle 2. Exactly. So there's method name range.
awesome. But this, I don't think this is the norm for our one. I don't think.
Are you sure this none is for us? Because
Yeah, I think it's the one. Okay, because I didn't modify that one, so I think this is it.
Mhm. All right.
Are you happy? Yes, no? No yet.
Most likely going to be a couple of other functions. The one calling this one.
Yeah, this is the part where I am.
That's what I was probably okay. I guess want to go to the just press F2 just to circle through all the errors, and once we find like another invocation of something that doesn't make sense, then we'll try and
This is fine. This is
so
the
this
one.
this one isn't, and that's because somebody calling this function is not passing in an extra none. So let's just scroll a bit up to see what function that is.
This one. This one.
Exactly.
Here.
So someone is probably still not getting that method name range. That would be my guess there. So could you do an Alt F7 on that function? Maybe it's even in another file. No, not on that, but on the function. Yeah.
All right. So we have that one is getting the range, but this one here is also getting the range. So something is not really. This is the one that really confused me because we need to pass a none here because otherwise it wouldn't receive. But it's just that it doing something else.
what's the type of AD here?
Is the access
Access a domain. Okay.
is the none. So we see here that we receive the
Who's calling this function? So it might still be just bubbling up someplace else. So
what do you mean the
yes, what kind of function is this? So if we scroll up,
AD you mean? Yeah, the AD.
no, not the AD here. The AD will be fine, but if you scroll up to wherever this function signature starts,
Yep.
oh, yes, I guess someone there were passing none. Perhaps built the solution, sorry, the project anyway.
Yeah, doesn't really make sense to me too much. So let's do the thing and see maybe. Oh, we're so close.
And perhaps also check for TC method application then. So we looked at TC method application, and there's also a TC method application then. Exactly, and that also, I think we tampered with that as well. So if you go to that definition,
There it is. This is the one that's missing. This one is missing the
yeah, this probably misses a lot on nuns. So after the method name,
yes, constructor, of course, because yeah, we don't really care about that. Then oh yeah, I see. Oh my god, yeah. That was fun. No. Well, I'm passing no. Does really receive a no? Yes. All right.
yeah, you just need to, I guess, do it everywhere, and it eventually kicks up.
Okay.
Because the first function that's is calling the function we're correcting right now will most likely have an influence on how the compiler is reasoning how many arguments there are. And because the first function is not having that additional one, it sort of thinks that there are only so many arguments to it, and it says all the others are wrong. So that's sort of my theory right now.
Yes. But maybe this is on a signature file somewhere that needs to be resolved.
Yeah, perhaps as well.
No, that's fine. That has a F2, another node here. Another node here. And then another node here, and then another node here. If this is not it, it will be funny. Okay, this here doesn't really make sense. So this here we don't using that one.
I guess just continue looking for this TC method application 4. We're probably still missing one. Sorry, TC application method application then, was it?
TC method, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So just maybe in your search on the top, then exactly.
Let's have a look. We have none, yes. We have none, yes. We have none, yes. We have it. We have it. We have it. Yes, we have it. We have it. All right. Sorry. Yes, we have it. And that's it. Don't really. Oh, this is it.
Oh.
Because I cannot find more. Oh,
Yep.
yeah. My God, it was that was bad. Okay, so let's build it.
You will get a medal for this, Edgar.
Yeah, someone needs to do it. Someone will need to do it. I have actually learned a lot today, so this is really good. I have another another issue that I wanted to fix with some sort of error reporting. So this is really helpful.
Yeah, I think it also just illustrates that it just can be tricky from time to time, and there's just a lot of things you need to take into account when working on this, and that's why it's really important that more people sort of do this. That it's not just a selected few who know how all this stuff works, but that's important that it just gets easier for a lot more people to sort of pick these things up.
And also you don't, if you do it alone, you will get frustrated and maybe would say, I cannot do this, I cannot do that, but having some sort of a safe space for trying this thing out with people, with people like you and David helping, it's really good.
Okay, now let's just run the unit test and then see. The test still is going to fail because of the without diagnostics, but if we have a diagnostic that's not covering all of this, then that's close enough for today.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I need to go out of the room. I have been here for more than 2 hours. Nice, finally, something compiling. You can do it. All right, expected 0. Expected 0, but 1. It's still the same, isn't it?
It's not quite there yet. So one thing just for fun that you can do is you can probably copy this bit and sort of already insert it over here.
Yeah. So I think it's something along just for now, copy this one. And then paste this one here, I guess.
Yeah, you probably want a string from here to here.
Yeah, true. All right. But I don't think this will be recognized. I guess we need to do some sort of extra stamping.
This might actually just work, but let me think about where this should be. Let's put in 18 because I think it actually just adds in the same number as your IDE uses. So it does it 1 based when it reports it. I think internally it uses 0 for columns, but then it will pass it along as 18.
Yeah.
Okay, so as we're quite close, we'll still need to take a break point and see if everything is passed down correctly. So let's maybe look back in our bookmarks where the error was eventually constructed. So I guess that was in constraints exactly. Let's just take our breakpoint there and see whether the method name range came down as we expected it to.
Yeah, I have a feeling that is this thing here. It's always taking. This is coming as a known, so I guess we can at least look back and see where this was known, and maybe we missed the chance to pass the actual value instead of known.
Exactly. We probably have it, and then we're not passing it down correctly because we replaced it with a none for now.
Okay, that's okay. Maybe just check that the range is different. So yeah, it is, the range is 1218 or 1117. That's here.
Mhm.
Now we're passing here, and then the,
Yeah, red flag. We're passing in none.
no, yeah. And do we have something that we can pass here? So
Yes, we actually have it. So M name is there.
ah, shoot. Sorry.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that must be it.
one Edgar. Just run it. I'm feeling lucky.
That's it. Yeah. If this is it, I will, I will clean the rest, and maybe even, I don't know, next session, if we really want to wait for the next session, I can, show what's the end result next session, and then if not, yeah.
Exactly, and we will add the link to the PR on the website, just so
Yeah.
people can sort of trace that back.
Yeah, definitely. It's something that I need to keep improving on, being better at understanding more the internals of the compiler, because the compiler is just a huge domain. It has different concepts that you just can't pick all of them. You sort of select one and then try to take, go from there and learn from, from the bottom to the top. So yeah, I feel like this is the right way.
At the same time, it's also very interesting that we know like the high level picture of the compiler with like untyped tree going to type tree. We know bits and pieces, and we're just able to sort of find our way and then sort of get this information. We are no experts in how constraint solving works. We are no expert in name resolution. We definitely don't know everything. But in a couple of hours, we did manage to get somewhere, find and debug where the right information was, and then just naively try and pass it around. And then in the future, we can iterate and see if we can do things more optimal.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe at one point we get a review
Oof.
from someone.
Passes.
Nice.
Yay! It
Uh,
actually passes. Oh my god, this is huge. Nice, huge. I call that success. I don't know how you call it success. Still, it's a lot to clean up, but yeah, imagine for a newcomer to coming to the language and don't need to deal with this. This for me is a higher priority in terms of, as a person who's trying to learn the language and trying to also teach someone, and say, this is actually what is causing there, or know the whole thing. And yeah, I understand that for maybe the F# team, this is not the higher priority because they have something more pressing on their backlog and all of that. But yeah, as a community, I think, or at least what I'm trying to do is trying to fix this kind of issues that will help the adoption of F# and hopefully will benefit many people, not just us. Cool. I call it success. I think it's been really fun, and I have learned a lot. And thank you, Florian and Dave, for your help. And yeah, it's been really good. So
Yes, thanks for taking the first session. And yeah, it takes a lot of courage, such a thing. So kudos to you.
I'll learn a lot. So next one will be more fun, I'm sure. Jimmy and hopefully will join us, and it will be more fun because it's more about tooling and it's more interesting stuff.
I think this was a very nice first session, and yeah, we ended on a green test, so let's keep it at that, and I hope we'll do this again sometime.
Cool. Do we have anyone still there?
No, it's just the three of us, so say something clever to wrap this up and stop the stream, I guess.
So yeah, this has been the first live code session to fix something in the F# community. We managed to take an issue that was raised by a contributor in the F# compiler. We managed to reproduce it, and we took we went into a deeper research of how this was fixable, and we did it. So yeah. With that said, thank you very much, everyone, and yeah, I see you next time.